Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Seer 365 session. As always, we are here today to have a look at one of our great Guide 365 ISV partners and find out a little bit more about how they operate in the ecosystem. Uh, also, if you do have any questions while watching, please do feel free to put those in the comments. If we get them while we're live, then we'll be happy to answer them on the webinar. But if you're watching on demand, again, feel free to leave a comment below, and someone will be in touch very, very soon to assist. We are always trying to break down data silos, and as we engage with more and more complex customers, they have got more and more complex demands. So bridging ISVs are critical to delivering solid, stable Microsoft Dynamics solutions. I'm joined today by Consolidator, who have such a solution. Really looking forward to today's webinar, and I'm joined by Nicholas. Over to you, Nicholas.
Thank you, Rufus, and thank you for having me. And hello to everyone online and to anyone watching afterwards on demand. My name is, as Rufus said, Nicholas. I'm head of sales and marketing at Consolidator. Been here for approximately 3 years, running 3 years soon, and I have experience in always working with accounting technology, actually either ERP systems like Business Central and finance and operations, like many of your partners here today work with, or consolidation solutions like a Consolidator that lie on top of these ERP systems and helps the finance function with their end reporting. So today my thought was I would show a little bit about how we solve the gaps between the ERP system and the final reporting when it comes to multi-entity setups, groups that operate across many countries, or just in general many entities where complexity can arise, where ERP systems can come short. We're going to be looking at both consolidation and also budgeting and forecasting, which is solutions that we have in our house, but also some of the solutions that are tied to Microsoft, which is Power BI and Fabrics. But let me just get this PowerPoint rolling. But a little bit first, we're going to touch about who is Consolidator. And why Consolidator might be relevant for you. What should you be looking for out there in the market when you speak to clients? And then we'll talk and I'll show the data flows. How do we see data flowing from ERP to final reporting, and where do we play into that? Then we'll very, very briefly talk about the Consolidator solution, the FP&A solution, the reporting that comes out, the value it brings, and then finally we'll round off when does a partnership make sense to elaborate on. And Rufus, just jump in if there are any questions that make sense at any point in time. So first off, who's Consolidator? Consolidator is a Danish-based company. We also have a subsidiary in Spain. We're listed in Denmark, and our core mission and what we do is we combine cloud technology with finance and audit expertise. The finance and audit expertise come from our founders. That's why they founded Consolidator. It's a state-authorized auditor and a former group CFO. They wanted to create a consolidation solution that catered to the mid-market segment, which is what we've been doing for the past 10 years. We were founded in 2016, and we've been on a growth journey ever since. What we do is we deliver reliable numbers each cycle. We're a debit and credit focused system. We like numbers, and we sit on top of BC or other ERP systems and get our numbers from there. After we've delivered the reliable numbers, we also like to utilize them to create strategic impact for our CFOs. The way we do that is with our FP&A solution, where we have, you could say, we have created an FP&A solution that thinks about forecasting and budgeting a little bit different. We will look at historic data, and we will then combine that with some algorithms and some related accounts, so that we can actually predict future cash flow. It means that we can predict both the P&L, the balance sheet, and the cash flow. So you actually get a full financial statement forecast with our tool. Who uses our software? We have top auditors like PwC, Deloitte, KPMG recommending using our software in different ways. PwC, they use us in the internal group, not internal group. They use us internally for audits on their clients. They have many hundreds that they every year will do an audit upon. We also have more than 280 groups spread across 5 continents, so we're very broadly spread. We cater to any market basically. We're very agnostic when it comes to consolidation and forecasting. Yeah, I think that's just a little bit about who we are, and then why Consolidator. So what we always look for in a consolidation client is of course complexity. And some of the things I've listed up here, and then I'll give you an example of when, for instance, Business Central or F&O could come short-handed in the ERP when it comes to consolidation. So of course, many clients, they operate with actually more than one ERP system. We see a lot of groups having you could say a core system. It could be Business Central, it could be F&O, but then they might have some local entities out there that have something else. And that information can be hard to gather in the ERP then. Then we also see clients with multiple currencies. Currencies can always create an interesting consolidation process. Then we have non-controlling interests, minorities. If these change throughout the years, let's say you go from 90% ownership of a company to 80%, this is also again complexity. Intercompany transactions is always something that is interesting. Some of it can be managed in ERP, some of it cannot, especially margins. And this is also something that a solution like ours can help. Then we have new
something that really sticks out to me here as well is some of these numbers in terms of where the ERPs start to kind of, let's say, creak and face challenges. They're not massive numbers. I mean, even just 2 or plus ERP systems, there are small end customers out there who still have this level of complexity within their business.
We see it very quickly. That's very true. Like we have a client with only 3 companies in the group because it becomes complex because they have them in other countries. It can very easily and just if they have a lot of intercompany, it can easily become a thing. So very true and very well spotted. And I won't go through all of it. You'll be able to see it. You'll have the recording on demand, so you can always pause it here and run through the rest of them. What I'll say is that we've actually also been talking to a lot of you partners out there. We've been talking to one of them is Jessica from Columbus, Norway, who has spoken to us a little bit about why and when should you add Consolidator on top of D365. So from her perspective and what we've had her, what she told us, which is of course very nice, is that adding Consolidator is like adding steroids to your consolidation process. And I hope this is true. And when you try it, I hope you would see the same. But our system is really core focused on automizing the consolidation process, and after we've added our FP&A solution, also automizing forecasting and budgeting processes as well. Of course, that part, there will always be some manual input in a budget process, but especially consolidation can be highly automated. And what she's also written here is finance and supply chain, F&O, however you want to call it, Business Central. They work well for basic consolidation, and they truly do. If you're very simple, if you have 5 entities and they're only in, let's say, UK, well, then it's very likely that you can stick with BC if you don't have a lot of complexities like minority and intercompany. But when things get manual and messy without proper consolidation software, that's when you could say we play in, and that's where the complexity comes. So just a little bit of the challenges we see in D365, but also in general in many other ERP systems is, of course, one of them is that ERP system to ERP system don't necessarily speak together. That's one of them. It could also be that there's limited support for multi-currency or FX. Just have one of them down here. or intercompany with margins. Especially the one with intercompany with margins is a tricky one. And then we have multiple gap layers. So if you do different kind of reporting, something called IFRS or these local gaps, if you have these different reporting formats, then that's also very difficult. Spoken from Columbus themselves.
The challenge around sub-consolidations as well. I mean, this is still enabling you to position FSCM or BC as kind of the one source of truth for an end customer. It's just this is enabling you to gather all of that data to feed into the ERP in a controlled way.
Yep. And then what Consolidator adds in the end is basically, as it also said here, powerful group reporting, forecasting, and variance analysis. That is one of our 4 core focuses, something we're really happy about, and also the audit trail. We have a very, very good and thorough audit trail, which comes from standard reports, which means it's very, very easy for auditors to drill down into what has been done with the consolidation process from the client's perspective. Cool. So how does data flow with Business Central and Consolidator, and also the final reporting? Mm-hmm. What we've seen in the past is that there's a lot of manual, disconnected data flows. Many clients, Business Central Cloud has helped it a lot because now you can gather a lot in one place. But many clients still rely on other ERP systems as well. Many of them will deliver information in Excel, and also some clients will today even consolidate in Excel. And that's of course a place where there's room for errors. Excel is very, very good because it's very, very flexible, but it also allows for errors. And it's very hard for one person to another to take over an Excel spreadsheet, because you need to know how does that person work with exactly that Excel sheet, what codes are there, and so forth. And that's where you could say standardization comes into play, and where it's very, very nice to have something that can put a layer of security on top. Consolidator is one of those systems. There are, of course, other systems, but being from Consolidator, I of course prefer this solution on top of Business Central and other ERPs. And we have this suite of products that connects so that we can gather information from any ERP system, put it into either Excel or a data management module, and make sure that everything stays connected. You have a single source of truth, and the data flows automatically. So that's what we've tried to do. And just to focus in, sorry. Yes.
No, I was going to say, I mean, it's an occasional situation where I've seen projects that have had like overlap between the 2 ERPs as well. So while a customer's running, implementing the net new solution, especially if it takes 12 months plus to deliver finance and supply chain management, they often are having multiple ERPs running alongside and need a tool to actually make sure that they're not having to just double enter everything manually across the platform. Yeah. And I say this a lot on these Seer showcases. I wish I'd kind of known about this even just a few years ago. I once had a client who had Business Central and didn't trust the data coming out of it whatsoever. And actually, I can see how this tool could have been used to actually extract the data, maintain some logical, relational information between the finance information that we're pulling from Business Central, and would have enabled her to actually review it and really kind of build confidence and trust in the system as well.
Very much agree. Good note. Thank you very much. Cool. And very, very briefly, just to touch upon the different systems here is the hub is Power BI, so something Microsoft product, which I'm sure Microsoft partners are very aware of. This is something where we have some standardized reports. I'll show that in the end. Mm-hmm. Then we have our financial consolidation module, which is where you do your financial consolidation, where you calculate your P&L, your balance sheet, and your cash flow, and get the reports from there. Then we have the FP&A. The FP&A part, they use 24 months of consolidated information, and then they use some predictive rules, and the rules was from algorithms and related accounts to actually predict the future. So let's say that you've consolidated from January to April periods. Well, then from May to the rest of the year, you'd like to know what's the impact of the first four months of actual numbers combined with our history. What will we predict would be the rest of the year's actual output? This is something that our module will be able to do within minutes after you've assigned the rules to the group account in our system. It's actually just a click of a button and you'll actually get a predictive forecast for each entity in the group. So you'll very, very easily be able to follow up on different scenarios. Let's say you want to hire a lot more people, or let's say that you know that your sales volume is going to go up extremely, something that we wouldn't know. You'll also be able to input that, of course, but that would be something you would be able to see in a very, very brief instance, so you can follow up on this recurrently and more frequently than you do today. Yes, and then also this will help providing you with a good set out for the budget for next year or many years ahead, depending on how many years ahead you budget. The last part, the financial data management, is again actually a Microsoft product. It's actually Microsoft Fabrics, where we have a data warehouse where we often collaborate with partners regarding structuring, augmentation, and just gathering of the data from clients. It doesn't necessarily only need to be ERP. It could be CRM, it could be HRM data as well. But in order for them to actually display that in Power BI reports where they can drill down to, let's say, transactions, account payables, or see something on a staff level that they need to see, or a forecast level in sales from the CRM. So that's what we use that module to as well. Cool. So from a reporting perspective, and not to drag this on without getting to some value, what do we deliver out of the box? What do we deliver to the clients? What's the value for them? Well, they get profit and loss comparison reports with budgets or prior year or whatever variances they might have. They'll get that out of the box in Power BI. They'll get that for the P&L. They'll get it for the balance sheet, and they'll get it for the cash flow. And this is, of course, very strong because the audit trail is there and they know everything reconciles in our system. The whole trustworthiness of Consolidator and what we deliver is something that is key there. But they'll be able to get these reports, and as someone who knows Microsoft and you could say the governance around it, if you have different groups, just even entities where a local manager wants to see their own report for their own entity, well, you can actually send out the same Power BI report, and they'll only be able to see their numbers. So it's extremely powerful having a tool like Power BI or other BI solutions to display these kind of numbers. So I just did a few quick screenshots of some of the reports that we have. It could be the P&L. It could be here where you see some transactional level drill down, where you have the group account. You find this one. This is in Danish, as we're a Danish-based company, so our demo is in Danish here. But then you would find some kind of one local account from one local entity that you would want to look at, and you could see the transactions all the way over on the right. Lastly, I also just brought along a quick cash flow report, which could also be something that the management would like to know. What is our EBIT numbers December 2023 here, for instance. Cool. So that's a little bit about the reporting, some of the out-of-the-box stuff you get when you've actually automated your consolidation and your budgeting or forecasting process with us. You will get these reports with a full audit trail very, very swiftly. And then when does a partnership with us make sense? Well, I've added you could say one overlying line up here. From financial complexity to compliant group reporting. That is what we, in a nutshell, deliver. That is the value of our product suite. From a customer perspective, what we deliver to them is we automate multi-entity consolidation across ERP systems, of course, all with the whole forecasting as well. And we give them a full audit trail, reconciliation, and reporting transparency, which is really, really key. Save them a lot of hours. And then, of course, one that almost all automation tools do, well, you reduce manual work and you have a faster month-end close, and no finance people wouldn't mind fast month-end close. The solution that we have and the value the combined solution gives to both customers and partners is it structures and governs data on entity level all the way up to group level. So you can find everything one place, you get one source of truth. You get a clear drill down and traceability from report to transactions, which is also key, which is actually something that you don't have to look from one system to the other system to find the full information that you're looking for, which is really, really strong. And then stronger financial control without increasing system complexity. That's also, of course, key. There is this whole term about best of breed or best of suite. We're best of breed. So we, of course, have nitpicked some very, very good solutions, being a lot of Microsoft and then Consolidator, and then lying on top of ERP systems. Of course, many people like fewer systems because there's fewer systems to know and learn. And if you know them well, sticking to Microsoft technology, adding a little component like Consolidator here, which has a very easy, what's it called, front page or whatever you want to call it. It's easy to learn. Well, then you don't have too much complexity in systems that can dive into too many details in the systems alone. And maybe takes a month to learn.
Yeah. From
a partner perspective, well, what do you get out of it? Well, of course, there's the whole monetary value thing. You now don't only sell maybe a ERP system, but you can also add a consolidator on top, which would mean that the whole Power BI reporting package will be bigger. So there's some consultancy revenue there potentially. The same thing goes for the Fabric solution. If people want to actually govern their data in a Fabrics environment where they can get everything into one place, one source of truth, which is something we believe, because that's also where you can actually implement AI, something Microsoft is working a lot with. Well, of course, that also is a revenue source and revenue stream for partners, and something we're very happy to work with you on. We have a framework for the consolidator thing, but not for the rest, of course. Then there's increased ERP stickiness. That's what we see. Most of our clients are actually on Business Central or F&O as a main part of their EP system setup, so at least HQ. But they do have a lot of local entities that might have some other ERPs. But the main part of our client base uses either Business Central or Finance and Operation as their core ERP. And the more systems you can add with Power BI, Fabrics, and so forth, alongside Consolidator, which works and talks very well with Business Central, the more stickiness we see. We also see more stickiness on our system when they use Business Central. And then there's just the whole thing about being a stronger, positioning yourself stronger and as a strategic finance advisor towards the CFO or the office of the CFO. With our value or with our product, you'll be able to also cover the whole financial consolidation perspective in a much more depth than you would be able to with just an ERP system. So in that part, we also deliver a lot of value. And then the last part, I didn't bring a slider with it, but I just wanted to briefly talk about it, is of course the different partner models we have. So we have everything from a referral partner that just brings a lead to someone who actually sells and implements our entire solution. We see that a lot in for instance, Sweden, where we have full-blown partners and never do direct sales ourselves. So we have all broad aspects and partners ranging from ERP vendors to auditors as well. So in many different aspects, we cater to many different partner levels and tiers. And that's actually what I wanted to just briefly touch upon today. If you have any questions, I'm sure Rufus would have told me. Otherwise, don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions you might have. And thank you very much for watching.
Thank you, Nicholas. An absolutely wonderful overview into Consolidator and how it can act to bring together all of that financial data into a structured and really helpful and valuable way. Couple of just kind of quick questions from me to round this off today. First one, you mentioned from an industry perspective, Consolidator is very, very broad and can apply to a wide range of industries. Do you see there being sort of more users in specific verticals over others, or more opportunities for Consolidator?
Well, you could say industries where there are naturally a lot more entities is of something that we see a lot of. Let's just take solar plants or shipping, for instance. There tend to be a lot of entities in those industries, and that just gains complexity very, very fast, especially with minorities and stuff like that. So we do see, but across consolidators, both our history and when we look at it, and now as well, we don't have an industry that is like covering, let's just say, 20% of our client base or anything like that. If we have one, it might be 5%. It is extremely broad and extremely difficult to say that we're better in one segment than another, because the whole finance, especially consolidation process, is very, very much. It's hard to say that anybody's not unique, because they always have their unique way of doing things, but the whole process of how you need to display it in the final reporting is very much the same. You're on IFRS or you're in local GAAP, and that reporting is the same.
Yeah, every business is managing their finances. Every business needs to report on those finances.
Yeah,
I get exactly what you mean. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you mentioned the consolidator being used to kind of act as a source or as a structure for AI tools as well. Do you use AI solution? Is AI sort of baked into Consolidator today, or is it something in the near future?
Yeah, so we're always discussing a lot how AI should be in our solution, in the Consolidator solution. Today, that we've actually worked with AI is actually more in Power BI and in Fabrics, because we've worked with you could say our output being poured over into a Fabric solution, gathered together with ERP data. We use Business Central on our own business as well, and of course Consolidator, as we consolidate as well. So what we do is we then pour it over into a Fabrics environment, and we can then actually ask AI to find certain deviations or things like that. Of course, AI has to really learn. It has to be prompted correctly for us to actually do that. And it is getting better. Today, actually, AI is also a little bit expensive in a Fabrics environment, but it will get better over time, we have no doubt. So we're actually, from many perspectives, we want to ride on the Microsoft's AI wave, because then you can actually ask on not only financial data from Consolidator, but also from ERP, CRM, HRM, whatever kind of solutions you might have that you want to gather in a data warehouse, data management solution, whatever you want to call it. So you get a much broader picture, instead of, as you could say, a small corner of your whole financial suite.
I think that's a really, really good way of looking at it, and especially partners who are looking at working with more complex end customers or enterprise level end customers. I think that kind of holistic view to how do we deploy AI, not just for one solution, but across multiple, is a really good way to approach it. Well, thank you, Nicholas. Really appreciate your time today, and I think it was a great overview of the solution as well. So, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about Consolidator, please do reach out and get in touch, either with myself, and I can connect you through to Nicholas, or as you can see on screen, his email and phone also. All that remains is for me to wish you a great rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Seer Showcase. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rufus.